Kevin Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales for stand-up.
I don't know. What did he break?
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. See, I seen your stuff on social media, boy, I know what you do. But you do it for play.
Eddie Murphy just explained why Kevin Hart seems to fear Katt Williams. For years, Katt Williams has been hinting at Kevin Hart in various ways, and now Eddie appears to be supporting him.
When are we, or are we ever going to see you on stage again doing stand-up?
I'm going to do it again because I got to break Kevin's new record. I got to get back on the stage because this new record that Kevin got, I got to have it back, Kevin.
From Katt calling Kevin an industry plant.
What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words.
To Kevin dodging Katt's challenge for a comedy face-off.
I got a show at your hometown in Philly. I'm gonna take my special there. On that stage, we can put whatever you want. A full-court basketball court, a boxing ring.
Why is Kevin so hesitant to face this one comedian? Let's explore. For a long time, Eddie Murphy stayed out of the ongoing tensions in the comedy world. He avoided getting involved in disputes or taking sides. However, when it came to Kevin Hart, his silence didn't last forever. In a recent interview, Eddie finally addressed the topic. Although his tone remained lighthearted, his words carried weight. When asked about Kevin supposedly surpassing his stand-up box office record, Eddie remained unfazed.
Kevin Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales for stand-up.
I don't know. What did he break?
He then pointed out that Raw continues to hold the record for the highest grossing stand-up concert film in history and emphasized that he hadn't performed on stage for 27 years. Almost jokingly, he added, "Now I got to get back on stage because I want that record back, Kevin." While it sounded playful, anyone familiar with Eddie knows that even his light comments often carry genuine intent. So how does this tie into Kevin's apparent fear of Katt Williams? Much more than it first appears. Eddie Murphy, a legendary comedian and benchmark for excellence in the industry, openly questioned Kevin Hart's standing. And this didn't happen without context. Kevin has carefully crafted a clean, highly marketable public image over the years. But when someone with Eddie's deep understanding of the business begins to question the legitimacy of Kevin's success, it invites others to investigate further. This is where Katt Williams enters the conversation. Katt Williams hasn't simply made passing remarks, his criticisms have been severe. In numerous interviews, he has accused Kevin Hart of being an industry plant, someone whose rise was fast-tracked, shielded, and promoted not purely due to talent, but due to his willingness to conform. According to Katt, Kevin has been willing to avoid controversial subjects, stay silent on industry power dynamics, and comply with those controlling the entertainment landscape.
Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
It was a harsh criticism, and Katt Williams came with evidence to back it up. He even alleged that for a 5-year period, nearly every movie role offered to Kevin Hart had first been presented to him. However, these roles often included parts that required him to play stereotypical or openly gay characters, roles Katt wasn't comfortable accepting. When he declined, those offers reportedly went directly to Kevin. When you combine these claims with Eddie Murphy's remark that Kevin's so-called record may not even exist, Kevin's reputation begins to seem less invincible. Instead, it appears shaped by timing, industry relationships, and a willingness to remain silent. Perhaps this is why Kevin keeps his distance from Katt, not because Katt poses a conventional threat, but because he possesses insider knowledge. Katt has seen the contracts, heard the offers, and turned down roles that Kevin may have accepted. At this point, the conversation extends beyond box office success or popularity. It's now a matter of credibility. And in an industry where those in power protect each other, the last thing Kevin Hart likely wants is for Katt Williams or Eddie Murphy to continue speaking out. While Eddie Murphy's comments about Kevin Hart may have sounded lighthearted, they didn't come from nowhere. When a seasoned figure like Eddie publicly raises doubts about someone's accomplishments, it prompts people to reconsider their assumptions. For Kevin, this reassessment goes far beyond ticket sales. It leads to deeper questions. How did Kevin achieve his current status? Who supported him along the way? And what decisions were made behind closed doors? One of those decisions involved hosting a party in Las Vegas back into a 101 event now receiving renewed attention. The party was held in honor of Diddy, with Kevin Hart serving not merely as an attendee but as the host. "We want to thank you. Don't sit on the bed or anything. No homo. Just don't get close to the bed. We want to thank you for hosting the event. Man, you didn't have to do it, but you did." "No, I definitely didn't have to do it," Kevin replied. "I definitely didn't have to." At the time, it was viewed as just another celebrity gathering. However, video from that night has recently resurfaced and, when viewed through a modern lens, raises concerns. In one clip, Kevin is shown inside a small bathroom surrounded by multiple women in bikinis. The lighting is dim, candles are lit, and the atmosphere seems disorganized. At one point, a woman's hair briefly catches fire. Instead of responding with concern, Kevin and others are seen laughing, treating the incident as entertainment rather than addressing the potential danger. The party continued with loud music and ongoing filming.
Just see what you... Yeah. The water was deeper though.
Came up, flame was gone. At that time, I was in panic. I had asthma. It was a difficult situation.
In another clip, Kevin is seen speaking directly to a camera crew. He casually advises them not to film near a specific area of the room where Diddy is seated. He doesn't give a reason, but in the background, the camera briefly captures a glimpse of the spot he referenced. This small moment quickly sparked conversation online, leading people to question, why was Kevin steering attention away from that part of the room? What exactly was happening at the party? The issue here isn't about assigning guilt, it's about his proximity to the situation. Kevin wasn't just a passive attendee. He played an active role at the party. He wasn't pressured into being. There he helped organize, entertain, and manage the event's atmosphere. He laughed during potentially dangerous situations and appeared completely at ease. This becomes significant given what has come to light since then. In 2024, federal investigators accused Diddy of running so-called freak-offs exclusive, invitation-only parties allegedly involving drugs, exploitation, and other serious misconduct. Multiple lawsuits and witness statements have suggested that these events were far more troubling than typical celebrity parties. They reflected a much darker pattern of behavior. To be clear, Kevin Hart has not been accused of any criminal activity, nor is there any evidence directly linking him to the alleged illegal conduct under investigation. However, that's not the primary issue. What matters is that he was present on camera, hosting, laughing as the atmosphere around him grew increasingly chaotic. This context explains why some believe Kevin appears cautious or hesitant when certain topics are raised today. The footage exists. The timeline is documented. The associations are undeniable. And when recently approached by paparazzi about his TIs to Diddy, Kevin chose not to offer any clarification.
Hey Kevin, when you hosted for Diddy, did you catch any baby oil?
You'll see,
When I hosted for Diddy,
Yeah, nah?
you asking the wrong person the wrong question.
That reluctance to address the situation only increased public suspicion. Silence, especially when accompanied by video evidence, often leads people to believe there's something being hidden. And perhaps that's what Eddie Murphy was hinting at when he challenged Kevin's public persona, not only questioning his accomplishments, but the very foundation on which they stand. As the footage from the Las Vegas party spread online, people began re-examining other moments from Kevin Hart's career, and a recurring pattern started to emerge. Although he is frequently presented as a hard-working, family-oriented comedian, his personal history tells a more complicated story. In 2013, Kevin Hart was arrested in Los Angeles for driving under the influence. Reports stated he was speeding and nearly collided with a tanker truck. Police officers noted visible signs of intoxication, and Kevin later publicly admitted that he had been drinking and made a poor decision.
The cop comes over. Cop's like, license and registration, please. So Mike go, Buck, where's the registration for the cop? You know, he got this African accent, right? Buck go. Man, you better get the fuck out of here. Stop talking talking to me, Mike. I don't know what shit. I don't know what nothing, man. Just talk to the cop.
Then in 2017 came the cheating scandal. Kevin had been married to Iniko Parrish for just over a year when a video surfaced allegedly showing him in a compromising situation with another woman in Las Vegas. The situation escalated further when it was revealed that someone had attempted to extort him using the footage. Kevin eventually released a video apologizing to his wife and children, stating, "I made a bad error in judgment." Iniko later confirmed in a Netflix documentary that she was pregnant at the time the infidelity occurred. There's also his history of controversial jokes, particularly regarding the LGBTQ+ community. Old tweets and stand-up routines from the late 2000s resurfaced in 2018 after Kevin was announced as the host of the Academy Awards. The backlash was swift, with critics labeling the material as homophobic. When Kevin initially declined to issue a new apology, public pressure grew. Eventually, he stepped down from hosting the Oscars and posted an apology on social media. None of these situations happened in isolation. In each case, Kevin's initial response followed a familiar pattern: first denial or deflection, then a delayed acknowledgement once public scrutiny intensified. These incidents weren't simply random missteps. They reflected high-risk choices by someone who often seems more focused on managing public perception than confronting real consequences. This growing list of concerns suggests a larger issue. Whether it's a questionable party or a public relations crisis following a scandal, Kevin has built a reputation for only addressing problems when no other option remains. It's a reactive approach rather than a proactive one. More importantly, it raises questions about the environments he consistently finds himself in. Kevin continued surrounding himself with influential figures who are now facing serious allegations. His friendships with people like Diddy, who is under heavy scrutiny for disturbing claims regarding private events and business activities, have only added to the discussion. Once again, Kevin has not been accused of any criminal acts, but his name frequently comes up in conversations about silence, protection, and proximity to power. The focus isn't on whether he committed any crimes, but rather on the circles he chose, the times he remained silent, and the decisions that appear more calculated than coincidental. In 2024, Katt Williams offered an unfiltered perspective during his interview with Club Shay Shay. This wasn't just another casual conversation. It was a detailed breakdown of his concerns with the comedy industry, with Kevin Hart at the center of his critique. For Katt, the core issue was the rapid pace of Kevin's rise and how quickly the industry embraced him, skipping much of the typical struggle most stand-up comedians face.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club.
In Katt's view, Kevin's journey didn't follow the usual path. While many comedians spend years performing in clubs, gradually building a loyal audience city by city, Kevin appeared to skip much of that early grind altogether.
He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No.
Williams also highlighted inconsistencies in Kevin's backstory, particularly the version featured in his Netflix documentary with Chris Rock. The documentary emphasized Kevin's East Coast comedy roots, but Katt questioned how this timeline fit with Kevin's simultaneous presence in Los Angeles, implying that it would have been impossible to fully build careers in both places at once. So how was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing at the same time? Katt asked. It didn't happen. The term industry plant surfaced during the conversation not as a casual insult, but as a serious claim. According to Katt, a plant is someone placed into the system, given access to opportunities that others don't receive, and promoted as if their success came purely from merit. From his perspective, Kevin's career path didn't seem organic. The roles, the deals, and the accelerated rise didn't match the typical grind of a stand-up career. Instead, it looked like an opportunity that was handed over, and Katt wanted clarity. Kevin Hart has addressed this type of criticism in the past. In a 2014 interview on Oprah Prime, he directly responded to the idea of overnight success. Hollywood has a way of making everything seem like an overnight success. He said, "But I've had 18 years in the business. I put in my time. I've paid my dues again and again." He explained that he had spent years studying comedians like Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock, learning from both their successes and mistakes to shape his own strategy. Kevin even shared that his home was filled with photos of comedy legends, a daily reminder of the level he aspired to reach. "What separates me is my drive," Kevin told Oprah. "My drive comes from seeing other people's success." For Katt, the issue wasn't whether Kevin worked hard, but rather who helped him bypass steps that most comedians never get to skip. As the conversation surrounding Kevin Hart's rise gained momentum, Katt Williams expanded his critique. He didn't just question Kevin's career path, he challenged the very structure of the entertainment industry itself. Katt rejected the idea that Hollywood operates as a level playing field where talent automatically rises to the top. In his view, real gatekeepers control access, and he claimed that Kevin Hart had become one of them. To illustrate his point, Katt highlighted Kevin's connection to Tiffany Haddish.
They tell you that there's no gatekeepers, but we keep seeing the same people open the gate. Didn't Kevin open the gate and let Tiffany in? Ain't he now opening it up for don't such and such?
While Tiffany is now widely recognized thanks to her breakout role in Girls Trip and her stint as host on Saturday Night Live, her path to success wasn't always easy. She has openly shared her struggles with homelessness, living in her car, and trying to make ends meet while pursuing comedy. In a 2018 interview with Vanity Fair, Haddish recalled how Kevin supported her during those tough times. They were both performing at the Laugh Factory when Kevin noticed she was sleeping in her car. He gave her $300, told her to book a hotel room, and encouraged her to write down her goals and work toward them one step at a time. Tiffany took his advice seriously. She booked a motel, wrote out her plans, and gradually began checking off her goals, identifying roles she aspired to, people she hoped to work with, and long-term milestones she wanted to achieve. However, Katt Williams wasn't convinced by this narrative. During an appearance on V103's Frank and Wanda in the Morning, he questioned whether Tiffany Haddish had truly earned her status as a leading comedian. Haddish has been doing comedy since she was 16, he said. "You can't tell me your favorite Tiffany Haddish joke. Why? Because she hasn't done a tour yet. She hasn't done a special." His critique went beyond her resume. Katt questioned whether Tiffany wrote her own material, whether she could hold an audience's attention for a full hour, and whether the industry was simply promoting her image before allowing her the necessary time to fully develop into the role she was being given.
I have forever been the humble guy. I have time to not be humble today. I have time to fact check everything he said because the world of Katt Williams is a fictional world.
The discussion intensified when Katt stated they're quick to criticize Monique and praise someone who appeared in Girls Trip. Do you really think she wrote Girls Trip, or was it a pre-written script handed to her? Goofball. Host Wanda Smith defended Haddish, arguing that people appreciated her authenticity. Katt pushed back, questioning, since when did being real become a marketable product? He further suggested that part of Tiffany's rise was influenced by her openness about being attracted to white men, specifically Brad Pitt, which, in his view, helped her maneuver through an industry still influenced by long-standing power dynamics. Katt concluded by highlighting how many veteran black female comedians, such as Lionel, Miss Laura, and Melanie Comarco, had dedicated years to the craft but were still overlooked by the industry. These women put in work, but you don't see the industry lining up for them. He said Kevin Hart didn't stay silent. Appearing on The Breakfast Club alongside Tiffany Haddish, he directly addressed Katt's criticism. "You had the opportunity," Kevin said. "You were set up to be the star, but you didn't show up to work. You missed promotional shoots, skipped opportunities, and became a liability." Kevin accused Katt of targeting others' success instead of taking responsibility for his own career setbacks.
Comedy.
You know what? I was actually one of those comedians that said, no, I wouldn't wear a dress. There's no way.
Dave Chappelle and I said that they tried to make him wear a dress.
You have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. I know what they are. You gotta know that you're a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times.
And then when proposed with the opportunity of what I felt was funny, nobody made Martin put on a dress and nobody made Tyler Perry. It was a choice that I made.
What made Katt's criticism different this time was not only the people he named, but also the specifics he provided about roles he declined and why. He claimed that for nearly 5 consecutive years, almost every comedy film Kevin starred in, had been offered to him first. Katt said he turned them down because he disliked the scripts and refused to play into outdated stereotypes or accept roles that involve what he described as overtly homosexual humor. "I'm not against comedy," Katt explained, "but I won't compromise my principles just to move forward. I won't play roles that I don't believe in." According to him, his suggestions for script adjustments were usually ignored, and the roles were then offered to Kevin Hart, who accepted them without any changes. This connected to a point. Katt had raised years earlier the belief that some black male actors are pressured into wearing dresses for comedic effect as an informal rite of passage. This theory has been previously discussed by other comedians like Dave Chappelle. Katt revisited the topic during an interview promoting Scary Movie 5. Around the same period, Kevin appeared in a dress for a sketch on Saturday Night Live. For Kevin, the sketch was simply comedy.
You to hear me, Kevin Hart. Let's move past that, Mo. Let's do some great things together. Don't even worry about it. Whatever y'all want to do, I will partner with you. I'll executive produce with you. You just let me know what you want to do.
For Katt, that moment represented a larger issue. It wasn't about the dress itself, but rather what he saw as a willingness to comply with industry expectations, even if they reinforce certain stereotypes. In Katt's view, this was the core difference between him and Kevin. He believes he was pushed aside because he refused to conform, declined certain roles, and stayed outspoken. As a result, he feels the industry moved forward without him. Kevin Hart, however, sees the situation from a different perspective. He views himself as someone who made smart decisions, took advantage of every opportunity, and worked tirelessly to turn small breaks into a significant platform. But Katt Williams isn't the only one who has questioned Kevin Hart's actions. Monique has also shared her experience, revealing how Kevin seemingly distanced himself when she was facing major challenges, especially from influential figures like Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry. Adding to the speculation, some suggest Kevin strategically aligned himself with both Oprah and Tyler Perry to advance his career in Hollywood. Back in 2021, on an episode of Kevin Hart's Comedy Goldmines podcast, he interviewed Monique. They discussed her journey in comedy, her rise, and her current standing in the industry. For context, Monique has had long-standing disputes with Oprah and Tyler Perry, which will be covered in more detail later. During their conversation, Monique spoke candidly about the difficulties her family had faced, describing them as being backed into a corner. At that point, Kevin offered his support, calling her like family, a combination of a mother, an aunt, and a sister. Beyond words, Hart took action. Though he admitted he didn't have a close relationship with Oprah, he promised to reach out to Tyler Perry, and he did. After a sincere conversation with Perry, Kevin returned to Monique with hopeful news. Perry was willing to move past their differences. Acting as a mediator, Hart encouraged Monique to do the same, telling her, "Let's leave all that negativity behind us, Mo. We've got bigger things to achieve together." Kevin's support didn't end there. In a later conversation with Shannon Sharp, Monique shared that Hart not only offered emotional support, but also extended professional opportunities. He proposed partnering with her and even offered to serve as executive producer on any project she wanted to pursue. Monique recalled Kevin's words, "Mo, I spoke to Tyler. He doesn't want to revisit it, but I'll tell you what, let's move forward and do great things together. Don't even worry about it. Whatever you want to do, I'll partner with you and executive produce it. Just let me know."
That's a miscommunication, and we're going to talk Tuesday. Don't worry about it. I'm telling you right now, it's a miscommunication. That was 2 years ago. If you talk to him, I talk to him. I've never talked back to Kevin Hart again.
She also shared how Kevin Hart came through for her financially, lending her a significant amount of money. Monique later repaid him, including interest, but this is where things took an unexpected turn. After Hart assured her that he would help revive her talk show, Monique was naturally excited. Having Kevin Hart attached as a producer could elevate any project. She shared the news with her team at Endemol, her media production company, and everyone was enthusiastic about working with such a high-profile name. However, 2 weeks later, Monique received disappointing news. Endemol informed her that Kevin Hart's manager, Dave Becky, had contacted them to say that Kevin was having second thoughts. Hoping for clarity, Monique reached out to Hart directly. His response was vague, simply assuring her, "We'll talk Tuesday, don't worry about it." Fast forward to years and still no word from Kevin Hart. The silence led some fans to speculate that Kevin may never have truly intended to support Monique's project. This fueled rumors that Kevin might have been protecting his own standing. with major Hollywood figures like Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry. According to some theories, helping Monique could have put his own career at risk. Meanwhile, Eddie Murphy's recent comments about Kevin Hart added another layer to the conversation. When a legendary comedian questions your success, it opens the door for others to scrutinize as well. As many see it, once you lose the respect of icons like Eddie Murphy, no amount of box office success or social media following can fully restore your credibility. That wraps up this video. Thanks for watching.